All
We're,
right.
we're good now. And I love it when people interrupt because that's how. So I show that we have 21 on, but going back to the lesson now, I see this is the screen I'm sharing. And
Yep.
now I have 11 in my class. So more probably will be popping on. And
Yeah,
this
and also we need to put again, we need to copy paste the link because if someone just joined, they don't see, if you copy paste something and someone joins after, they don't get to see the link.
okay, the
So
link is the number 4.
I'm copy pasting it for you again, don't worry.
Okay. Okay. So we've got the code is always there. So I'm retired, which is wonderful, but I'm also a certified level 3 trainer for Nearpod. And I think the world has adopted Nearpod because that's all I do is Nearpod training right now. This is just a Google form. So you can put a Google form within your lesson. And the reason I'm asking for your name and email is that after this is over with, I'm going back. I want to be able to send you additional resources. So if I have your email, I can go in and to my Google form and be able to send that to you. You'll only get probably one email for me. I'm not going to bombard you with stuff. So just take a second to put in your email and also that I'll be able to share those resources with you. So,
So how many people do we have on, Ms. Gore?
I have right now I have 17 in my class.
So we're missing a couple of people to
Couple of
join.
people. So they, if they don't want to be, if they don't want to be my student, they can just watch my screen, I guess. But I think it's very beneficial for you to experience what the students experience. Now, this is something that is only on the student screen. Up in the top right-hand corner, when you're a student, you see that the icon is like a paper and pencil. And when your students click on that, it's notes. And so they could take notes anytime during the presentation. And then they could decide, where do I want those notes sent to me? Do I put up my email in? Do I save to Google Drive? Do I save to OneDrive? What that also does is that you get the whole presentation as well. Now, on the teacher screen, you will not see that icon. You do not see the student notes. It is strictly for the students. So when I am working with a class of students, I have to remind myself, be sure to tell them to turn on notes. Okay, and now as we go through this, you're going to see some additional slides that might have an arrow. These are just kind of reinforcement slides for what we've already done, and we won't be reading or looking at all of those. This is a poll. So I'm asking you to tell me which one of these statements best describes your familiarity with Nearpod. And so you just go in and respond. I love to put in polls with students. One, I get 100% participation. I am seeing in real time your response. And so this helps me as I'm doing this training to understand where my students are. So you can use a poll as many times as you wish. It may be a way of you getting updated information from your students or such. And when it is taking the results, it's also building a pie chart for me. And so visually, I have a real clear picture of where we are. About a third of you have heard of Nearpod. Another third have used Nearpod, a few times and all. And some of you are wanting Nearpod what? Which is fine. That's, just this, and I can see if people have not responded.
Just
But-
want to add this for, and I'm sorry, when you're a Zoom and you become a co-host, the co-host doesn't have the opportunity to engage with those types of apps.
Oh,
So just a little side note, it's interesting,
Okay.
right? So for any
Yeah.
of us that are co-teaching in a classroom, when you have a co-teacher, the co-teacher who's helping you facilitate, I clicked on mine, but it doesn't appear. So that's just a little side note that happens in most programs.
And,
Right.
and I'm a student and it doesn't allow me. I'm Jackie Hasim, it doesn't allow me.
Because did you sign into your Google account when you went into Nearpod? Did you sign in?
Of course, yeah.
That's
You
weird.
really don't want to be signed in as a teacher. Remember,
As a student.
Yeah.
Oh,
remember, students do not have accounts, and you're my students right now. And so you are just putting in the code. You're not logging in to
mm,
your Nearpod account.
okay.
That may clear that up.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we'll go on. This is what I was seeing. I was seeing this in real time, and you can see it was building, this is my little fake class, building me a pie chart. And I could tell exactly, I could hit the center where it says share and share that poll out to my students. And students really love to see the results of a poll. Now, for those of you that are near to Nearpod, what is it? Well, it is a presentation program, but what makes it different, makes it a real resource for you as a teacher, is that it's very interactive. Also, anything that can be graded will be graded for you. When I work with students, they really like it. I feel like the participation and involvement is much more. I can have videos. Yes, was there a question? I can have videos in my lesson, and anytime I have a video, it pops up and it's going to ask me, where would you like this video to be played? All devices or this device only. Today, I'll probably say this device only. If I say all devices and you've got, you're working with students, what will happen, and you just have to allow a little wiggle room for this, in that the students will not always start the video at the same time. So you may have some getting it started real fast, others not so fast. So you have to add a little extra time. So I'm going to be saying this device only. And so Nearpod has a lot of resources. There are videos that are throughout this. We won't look at all of them, but when you have the presentation, you can certainly do that. So I have a video.
Introducing Nearpod. With Nearpod, you can make every lesson interactive. Launch lessons your students can't wait to join with collaborative, engaging activities like virtual reality, simulations, and gamified quizzes. As the teacher, you'll always know where your students are with Nearpod's formative assessments, including polls, open-ended questions, draw-its, and more. Get started with what you already have. Upload any of your favorite resources, PowerPoints, Google Slides, and videos, including directly from YouTube. Then, add in media and formative assessment in a few clicks. And now you can add questions directly into videos to make them interactive. Get started even faster with our library of pre-made lessons and videos, built in partnership with some of your favorite brands. You can use them as is or customize to meet the unique needs of your students. Once you're ready to launch your lesson, choose from 3 teaching modes. In live participation mode, you control the pace and students participate on their devices, either in person or remotely with web conferencing. In student-paced mode, students move through and participate on their own, whether they're working from home or in class working in centers, stations, or groups. With front of class mode, you can use Nearpod without student devices and facilitate collaborative discussions. Imagine what you can do with Nearpod. Your students will love lessons that combine engaging media with collaborative ways for them to show off how much they've learned. You'll love unlocking student understanding in real time and having reports to inform the next day's instruction. You'll wonder how you taught without it.
So that's just a little overview. Now, what I have here, this was a PowerPoint presentation that I did a number of years ago. And as a PowerPoint, it was just a slide after a slide. It was not interactive. But you could bring in a PowerPoint or Google Slideshow into Nearpod and make it very interactive. So this is on Predator and Prey. This is a draw it activity. So now on your screen, you have some drawing tools there at the bottom, left-hand side. I really don't go over those. The kids figure them out. Only thing I usually say is there are more colors than black and all. So I'm doing a pre-assessment. I'm asking you to draw a picture of what you think a predator would look like. I love draw it activities. There are so many ways to use a draw it activity. I'm going to show you some different ways other than just as we are now. But I love the creativity. The kids certainly like it. And if you're new to Nearpod and say one of the first Nearpods that you do with your activity with your students, you might want to have a draw it near the beginning because it kind of breaks the ice and all. The other thing, and especially, we all have had students that never say anything, never raise their hand or ask a question, and maybe they do a really good drawing. And so I can share out individual drawings to the whole class. That does a tremendous amount for their self-esteem. Now, if you're in an elementary classroom, I will tell you this, if you share out one person's drawing, they want you to share out all of those. That's fine. And all. So the other thing, you can put a timer on this activity because usually the students want to spend more time than you really were planning on. So a lot of times I have to say, okay, you have 5 seconds to submit. Now the drawings will show up in your reports for this lesson, but if the students submit, so I really have to make sure the students go ahead and submit. So I'm asking all of you to submit, even if you're not quite finished, and all. Some of you have discovered there's a text box and that you can type in text as well, and all. Some of you are very artistic, and all. So please submit so that I'll have this in my report and all. So when you have submitted and your name that's showing is in green. So that's how I know when you have actually gone ahead and submitted. And so I'm looking through these in real time. And so I could come over here, and Claudia is my shy student, but oh, look at this. She did a great drawing. And so I could share this out, and Claudia and I could talk about why this is a predator, what makes this a predator and all. And as I said, if you show one, especially if you're doing elementary, all the students will want theirs to be shown. Okay, so I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to go ahead and close that.
I wanted to say, Ms. Gore, something that I noticed that was really subtle. is that when you were sharing the poll didn't have our original name. It had a pseudonym, like it had said Oprah Winfrey. It said, it had other names.
Oh, that was in that's just in my fake class.
Okay,
You'll see the real names.
okay.
You know, I was just doing some
I
screen.
didn't see my name Beyonce on there, so I was like,
Oh, now people often ask this, can I hide the student names? Down in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, I have a bar and it says hide student names. And I do that often if I'm going to be sharing. That way, I don't have to worry about embarrassing someone or anything like that. Now, this is just my little fake class of 4 students, and Oprah happens to be in it, along with Mary Poppins. So this is what I was seeing. I was seeing you do your drawings, and then it would turn green when you had submitted. And this is just a slide. We go on, we talk about what a predator is. Here's the definition and all. Now, this is a different way to use a drawing activity because you can convert any slide into a draw it. So this was just a slide that had these 4 sentences on it. I converted it to a draw it, and I have asked you to circle the predator in each sentence. So I'm doing a quick formative assessment of this to see, we've talked about predator, we've seen examples. Are you understanding what a predator is? Again, I'm seeing it in real time. I could have had sentences like this, and I could have asked you to circle the nouns in red and underline the verbs. I could have had a math problem up there, and you could have solved the math problem. I could have a map and ask you to identify certain states or such as that.
there's
So-
a question.
Uh-huh.
Would a timer force submission by all students?
Does it force the submission? Or does it just write out a time? I don't know, but I will find out, and I will follow up with that. I hadn't thought about, because we haven't,
That was a great question, straight from Mr. Russell.
oh, good, okay.
Oh, no. And I have another one. It said, could you also have, make videos interactive? Oh, well,
Yes, and I will get to that
Okay.
because that is a brand new feature in Nearpod about the interactive videos, and we would definitely get that. My guess on the timer is that you just run out of time, and I don't know if it totally forces it or not, but I will certainly troubleshoot that, and I will let you know. That was a great question. You think you know everything, and then somebody else said, well, what
You
happened?
have the gifted group today.
I do, I know. I love having the gifted group. So this is what I was seeing. I was seeing each of yours and seeing that you were circling the predator and such. So that was a quick way for me to do a formative assessment. Now, up here on this screen, you see this little icon. It looks like a book with a recording. And what that is, it's a partnership with Immersive Reader. And so many of the slides will have this if we toggle that on in our settings, which we will check all of our advanced settings. And that means when the student sees that, it will read the questions. Like in a quiz, it would read the question and the choices. It would read the open-ended question. So this is very important for, you may have non-readers, or you just may have students that need to hear it orally. They've really increased different ways to have audio. Now, it only works like when the students are on a computer. It's not going to work on an iPad. The slides will be there, but it just will not be read to them, the Immersive Reader. This is a 3D. This is in when you're adding content, they have a section on 3D. Sometimes I might even have a 3D image at the very beginning. It really doesn't have anything to do with my lesson. It just kind of keeps the students occupied till everybody gets on. Now, there's a lot more things than just sharks, but sharks, kind of intriguing when you look at their teeth and all of that.
We're the home of the mighty sharks, by the way.
Oh, really? Well, how
Really?
appropriate.
We are the home of the mighty sharks. Go Sharks.
Yes. So, but you have in 3D, you also have like the auditory system, the circulatory system, and such. And kids love being able to manipulate them. This has 2 questions in the quiz. So go ahead and take it. The nice thing about quizzes is that they will be graded for you. You don't have to grade them. And in real time, I will be able to see how you are doing on this quiz. Again, it tells me, have they gotten it or do I need to reteach? Also, it's collecting this data and it's building a pie chart for me again. Now, if my pie chart is lime green, like a key lime pie, I know that my students have a good understanding. If it's red, then I need to stop and I need to reteach. So I see it in real time, but in my reports on any quiz, I will see how students did on each question. I will see how each individual student did and such. And so your reports are very good that you'll have available. And they become, as soon as I close this presentation, they will be available for me to look at and all. So you all are, as we said earlier, we had already determined that you were the gifted and talented group, are doing very well. So I'm just going to move on. Again, this is what I was seeing. I was seeing my students. And if I had, 10 questions, I would see their response to question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across the board. This is a Collaborate board. I like it just like I like the poll. And I get this pop-up and it says, would you like to approve student comments before they are posted? If you have elementary students, you probably don't have to worry about that. Back when I was in the classroom, I was in middle school. I probably would want to be able to approve them first. So that's up to you. And so I'm going to say no. Now, this says search for a picture of a prey, add it to the Collaborate board and describe your animal. Down here at the bottom, I have a text box. And so I can click in there and I can say a rabbit is a prey because, and I just like to type in Swedish because I can type so fast. But then I have this little square box here. It looks like a landscape on it. This takes me to Google Images. And now I could find a picture of a rabbit. I click on the magnifying glass and then I get all these cute little rabbits and I hit save and then I post. And so go ahead and you can do the same thing. So it's like Post-it notes from each of my students. Again, another way to check for understanding. It's fun because you're finding the images as well as having text. And let's say somebody did put something inappropriate and all on my screen as the teacher, I have a trash can on each of the notes. So if there is something that is inappropriate, I can click on the trash can and that will make it where that posting is deleted.
I have one. You can trash mine.
Right. And so it's very easy to, you feel like you have control of this type of activity. So a collaborate board, again, you can insert anywhere in your lessons. And it's a way of keeping your students engaged, getting that 100% participation. So I'm seeing these come up onto my screen. I could share them out. I could have a timer. Okay, so here's if right now I have choices. They're coming in by who, this isn't really a timer. This is saying they're coming in by who did it first. Now you see the heart, and if you wanted to, after everybody had posted those, I could hide student names. Would you like to approve? No. And so we could look at these. I could tell them to vote on the one that they thought was the best, and such as that. So here's what I was seeing. They were all coming in. Here's a card that was deleted, and you see it just says this card was deleted and all. So, teachers like to be in control. Again, just going on, this was just images of a prey, the definition of what a prey is. This is an open-ended question. Now, open-ended questions will not be graded for you because there is no exact right answer for that. But all the students' responses will be in their report. And something when we get into the editing part, one of the new things is for an open-ended question, you have a toggle button that you can turn on, and it allows your students to respond orally. And we all know we have students that typing, spelling, all that may be very difficult for them, but orally they do a great job of responding. And so they, having that, giving your students that choice may be very important to them. And a lot of times after these have been posted and I'm quickly, looking at them, I may have a student that just really nails this response. And so I could share that response out to the whole class, and we could talk about it and how well that answer was, how the explanation made so much sense. So just moving on. So you can see here, of course, I said, explain your answer. Some, these students didn't do a very good job. They just said yes. Whereas Mary Poppins did a great job. So I could have hit this share here and it would share out. I could share it out to the whole class and we could talk about that response. You may not have heard of Microsoft Sway. It's an Office 365 product. I tell people, to me, it's like a PowerPoint on steroids. This is, I'm just gliding down through it. I did not make this Microsoft Sway. This is another way to add content. The images are fantastic. This would take me a lot of time to do. So I have, when I'm adding additional content, Microsoft Sway as one of the options. And if there's something you want to use, it really adds to the lesson. And, you have to allow time for the students to read this and scroll. I'm just scrolling down. When I get to something that was this stack, it's a stack of cards. I click on it and it takes me to the next one and I can read that card. So you can see how much, how much time, and then how much information the students are receiving. So there's several cards, and then they always have activities, think, pair, and share as well. This is fairly new, and it is where you can match the word with the or it's matching pairs. And you create your own matching pairs, but it doesn't take any time. And so you can go ahead and be matching these up. And what I see as the teacher right now is how many tries it takes you. So, 8 out of 8 is you got every one of them on the first try. However, if you are just clicking around and hoping and praying that eventually they're going to get all matched up, I see how many tries it took you. This can be text to text, like a vocabulary word and a definition. It can be an image. To an image. It could be an image to a text. It could be a math problem with the correct answer. So you just make your own pairs. One thing as a teacher that I can do is, if they're really struggling with it, maybe it is math problems. I could we can look at all the pairs together and we can talk about why this is the correct one to match each of them. So teachers really like matching pairs and all. So you have a lot of different things you can put in your lesson, and it really does keep the students engaged. This is what I was seeing. You can see Oprah was just kind of clicking around, hoping for the best and all. Or maybe she just didn't understand what was going on. The virtual reality, this is another partnership. It's with 360 Cities, and you have a lot of these that you can choose from. Students, again, love this because they can manipulate it 360 degrees. They can zoom in, they can zoom out. With older students, I either have a slide prior to this virtual reality or afterwards. I might have a leading question. Be prepared to discuss the different types of coral reef that you saw. Or if younger students, see if you can find the biggest predator. And there's my big fish there. And there's looks like a whale in the background. Now, many for you to choose from. You could show your students the pyramids, the Eiffel Tower, places they've never been, and the images are very, they are vetted. 360 City just doesn't let anybody put their 360 images into this and all. I tried doing one in my backyard and I sent it in, and a couple of weeks later I got a very nice email saying it wasn't good enough. So I thought, oh, they do look at those and all. So this is just another Collaborate board. You can have Collaborate boards that just have text on them without images or pictures, where they just type in information and answer to your question. You're making up the question and such. Now, remember, logging in is very easy, and after you've done 1 or 2 lessons, your students will know exactly what to do. All the students have to do is put in the code. Now, if you're doing single sign-ons from Google Classroom, it'll we can toggle that on in the settings so that it's automatically, their names are automatically filled in. this is anytime you're in Nearpod and you're thinking, oh, how do I get back to my library? All you have to do is click on this icon here, and it will take you to your library. And remember, I said earlier about how the code for my lesson is always where I can see it, and it's up here in the top left-hand corner. You have this on your home page. A plus sign is create a new lesson in Nearpod and in Google Slides or add folders. Quick launch is you might be in a lesson and you think, oh, I wish I had that. I want to do a poll not a poll. I want to do an open-ended question. I want to do a collaborate. And you can just hit the quick launch and do it just right there on the spot. Now, if you have period 1, period 2, period 3 of students, and you do it in period 2, that collaborate board is only going to be in period 2. Profile is where we're going to look at your account settings, and you can toggle on these different things. And there's some in there I think are very, very important. And this is just talking about navigating on your home screen and such. Now, Nearpod has over 8,500 lessons already made, and already over 1,000 plus interactive videos. So you do not have to start from scratch. You will go and we'll find a lesson in the Nearpod library. We'll bring it into your library, and you can see how you then edit that lesson to make it work for your students. And when you're on your home screen over on the left-hand side, there is a button that says Nearpod Library. Now, there's a lot of different ways to search because you do not want to look through 8,500 lessons. And we will look at that. So the video library, it certainly keeps growing. As I said, the interactive videos are brand new, just in August, and they will keep adding to those and such. And so again, any of the little videos that are in this presentation, like this one's just a little over a minute. If you're looking at it trying to say, oh, how do I get that Nearpod lesson from the Nearpod library to mine? You can always come back and you just click on
I
it.
can create my own collection of ready-made lessons from the Nearpod lesson library. As you can see here, I'm in my library in the Nearpod menu. To get to the Nearpod lesson library, I click this button on the left sidebar. This takes me into the Nearpod lesson library where I can search for a specific lesson. I'll start with fractions. These search results return a variety of lessons for a variety of grade levels that have to do with fractions. If I'd like to narrow that search, I can do that on the sidebar like this. So you can see I've selected 5th grade math. This returns lessons that are specific to 5th grade math. I can preview any of these lessons by hovering over the thumbnail and clicking it. Here, I can preview the lesson to see if it's what I want. And if it is, I click Add to my library. Then changes to Show in my library. If I click here, I can launch the lesson. This screen allows me to launch it live or student paced, edit it, or share it. I can also return back to my library by clicking the blue house in the corner. And I am now able to launch the lesson by hovering over it, clicking Live Lesson, Student Paste. I can edit it here or preview it.
So it's very easy to find a lesson and bring it into your library. And I'm going to show you how to add additional content and additional activities. And that code that your students get, it only pops up when you launch the lesson. And so if I launch a lesson live, the students will get the code. The code, when you do student paste, is good automatically for 29 days. And so they don't have to put it in immediately for them to be able to do the lesson. So as I said, we really don't have time to look at all the videos. They're very well done. But here's where I have a choice of live participation or student paced. I can edit a lesson, or I can preview it. So this is what, the code looks like. And as I said, it used to be all letters. It's not case sensitive, but recently they have started adding in numbers because there's so many people using Nearpod. I have a toggle button on there and also in my settings, which says require student submission. So if they're doing student paced and I have a drawing activity or a quiz or whatever, if I have this on, they're going to have to do that before they can proceed through the lesson. And obviously I want them to do that activity. Reports, as I said, we will look at that. There's about 3 ways to get to reports. It's very easy. As I said, it's very detailed. You can share those reports and download them or just look at them, on your computer. And also when you're in student-paced lessons, I might come into my class on Monday and say, here's the code for a student-paced lesson. You have to Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. to complete it. And I would be able to also go in and view their progress to see, are they waiting to the last minute or are they working on the lesson? And, so this is fill in the blank. You create your own fill in the blanks as well. And it's a drag and drop activity. So you have some words that you just pick up out of the word bank and the students drag them to the right spot. Again, this will be graded for you and such. And so it's very easy to create your own, and we'll look at that. I'll show you how to do it. That's what's important, knowing how to do all of this.
Ms. Gore, I advocate, I need a little brain break and a bathroom break. Is that contemplated? Because we almost are going for an hour, or do you have a set schedule?
Well, if you all will be fast.
I don't know. Can you give a virtual thumbs up if you would benefit from like a little 5-minute stretch break and bathroom break? Participants, do you have your thumb button? Click on the thumb button and participants so I can see if it's only me. Anybody else wants the thumb, not the virtual thumb. Let me see. I can't see in view because I don't have. No, you want to keep on going, Phil?
Keep on going. You can do
All right.
it.
Okay, well, I need to go to the bathroom.
Well,
Phil doesn't look at my bladder, so I'll let Phil be the co-host. So
Okay.
change me and let him be the co-host.
Okay, Time to Climb is a gamified quiz. And you can turn any quiz in your lesson into a time to climb. Plus, there are also time to climbs already created. And so you have some different backgrounds. And if you're a high school teacher, some of you high school will say, oh, those little memes look like for kindergarten kids. But I tell you, I've used Time to Climb with older students and they enjoy it just as much. It brings out that competitive streak. So I'm just going to click on, I'm going to change my scenery from underwater to Halloween. I can turn the sound off or on. And once I decide on that, I hit continue. So some of you joined the game and all. And what I will see as the teacher, I will see how many players I have. So I'm seeing your mean jump up and has your name by it. And then, if I have 15 students in my class, when I see that all 15 students have connected with their choice, then I know I'm ready to start the game. Now, this is, as I said, there's some that are already created for you. there are ones, you can take a plain quiz and put it in this format. So we've got a few brave souls and all. And so I'm going to go ahead. Oh, we got more. I'm going to go ahead and start the game. And so the questions are timed, but this was one that was already done. I did not create it. It's for your English language arts teachers. You'll love this one. There, and there. And all. So if all the students respond before that 30 seconds, it moves on. It doesn't wait till the timer goes off. So I have a leaderboard in front of me. And so I can tell, because obviously if you get it first and you get it correct, that's what puts you at the top of the leaderboard. And now Russell Walsh, you are you are the leader right now, but I will tell you, there's some people close behind you. You can knock him off and all. So again, it's just another way of engaging your students. It's great for review. You do get in the reports of how each of the students did. So it's not just wasting time and all. Russell's still up there at the top. Come on, Andy, you're the closest one. So I can cheer everybody on. So you see how it moves from question to question, and it just keeps going to the next one.
Can you hide the names?
Okay, so we're not going to, Russell, you were at the top when I cut it off.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I have a question. Can you hide the names in the game?
Can I hide them?
The names,
No.
so they don't see their classmates' name.
No, you have, that's how you participate and now your name is only showing on the leaderboard that the teacher sees.
Okay.
Okay. So this is, as I said, I'm kind of clicking through some of this so that we have plenty of time to get into where you're getting your feet really wet. Nearpod does a great job of when you do take a lesson, you want to add more to it. You can add content or you can add activities. And so you can add videos, you can add a web URL. If you're a math science teacher, right now it's pretty hard to do for a hands-on science. And so these are math simulations that you can bring in. Here's a VR field trip, Desmos, British Broadcasting, great videos. Here's that Microsoft Sway. You can bring in audio files. You can bring in PDF documents. But in these, we'll look at all of these activities and I'm going to show you how to create each one of those and all. So very active in on Facebook. There's a Nearpod Educators group, and you know how teachers are so willing to share some of the hints, ideas I get from either from Twitter or from Facebook. So when I can end a session several ways, but right up here at the top, I have a down arrow. I could get to reports, or I can just say end session. And it always asks me if I want to end the session. So I'm going to say yes. If I say no, that code is still live. So now where I would like for you to be, we're out, you're not my students anymore. You're at nearpod.com. You should be logged on and you should be maybe have two tabs open, the Zoom tab and the Nearpod. And we're going to look at these different features of ways you get lessons and edit them. Now, remember we saw this, you can create lessons, you can add videos, you can create lessons in Google Slides. Here's the quick launch. And I could just do a quick launch if I wasn't even really doing a Nearpod presentation, but I just wanted to have a exit ticket. I could do a quick launch and just have a one slide Nearpod. Now, next to that though, is this round circle. I have my picture in mind. Yours may be just grayed out, but click on your profile. We want to slide down to lesson settings. And we want to look at each of these. You decide, do you want to toggle it on or off? I believe you all use Google Classroom, and so this would enable the student names to autofill. And so I probably would turn that on. Here's Immersive Reader. I would turn that on so that the slides where Immersive Reader works, if they are on a computer, it will read that to them. For those of you that have older students, I would turn on Enable Student Notes. That's a great tool for them to use.
I don't know other people, but when I joined with my account, it says Enable Student Notes. It says that I need to contact this. It says this premium feature.
This is, okay. Does your school have a school license?
I believe we do.
Okay, you need to check with whoever is responsible for setting that up.
Oh, there she is. She's joining us right now. So Christina's walking. We timed this so this would happen.
Oh, I see. Because if you have a school license, or sometimes it's a district license.
Christina, you're there?
Yes.
We were just clicking right now. Ms. Gore's doing just sharing with us what we should have in their teacher account. And when at least I hit one of them, the one that says enabled notes, it said right now, at least I did, it says, this is a premium feature. This feature only available for school edition.
We have the school edition, so that might mean that you're logged in with like a free account if you had it before.
No, I logged in with my school Gmail.
I was
Okay.
able to get those features.
Okay, so we'll figure yours out, Marlene.
That's something for you to figure out on your end,
No
because
problem.
because you do want to have that on.
Yeah.
Show quiz and multiple choice results in student pace mode. So your students have taken a quiz in student pace mode. Do you want them to see see the graded results? That's up to you. Turn it on or off. Allow students to resubmit answers in live participation mode. I have mine turned off, but if I wanted to turn it on, I would just do this. And so you can change these at any time. Certainly, I would have enabled Collaborate Board for student pace lessons, because if this is not turned on and you have a student pace lesson that has a Collaborate Board, the students will get a message that it says waiting for teacher input, and they will not be able to respond on that board. So you want to turn that on. I certainly would turn on require student submissions. This has to do with the student pace lessons. You want them to take the poll, you want them to take the quiz, the open-ended questions and all. So I got to all of this by going up here to the right-hand corner to my profile. I slid down to lesson settings, and bingo, it took me here. So as I said, you can change these at any point. So I'm going to click back here on my Nearpod logo, and I will, this takes me back into my library. Now, over here on the left-hand side of your screen, when you are in your account, it says Nearpod Library. Click on that. That brings you up to these 8,500 lesson and over 1,000 interactive videos. Lots of ways that you can find the lesson that you need. For one thing, you can just type in the topic right here. I might say Bill of Rights and do a search. Now, I only type that in, so I'm going to get all grade levels. If I come over here and I say 8th grade, I'm adding another filter to my search. So I'm knocking out those that are maybe for the older students or for the very young students. I could just type in weather. And I could say 2nd grade. I'm going to take out 8th grade. And so now I'm going to have lessons and videos on weather that are appropriate for that grade level. When I see a lesson that has a time underneath it, I know that that is an interactive video. These that have like Stephanie Froming, she is a teacher. She does lessons that, you know, for Nearpod, but, you know, they have to be in a certain format. They have to meet certain criteria. So weather was pretty general as a search item, but you made it fit your grade level by typing that in. Or I could just find, and then once I'll show you how we're going to look at a lesson and come back to it. So you can choose your subject. I can click the X and that gets rid of all the search features. So I might say social studies, 8th grade. Now I get lessons that fall under social studies and appropriate for 8th grade students. So I don't have to look at all 8,000, 500 lessons.
There's a question about sources in Spanish.
Lessons that are done in Spanish, is that the question?
Question came, are there lessons and resources in Spanish?
In Spanish. Now, there are some add-ons that meet, some of those. I don't know that there's a whole category on lessons that are done in Spanish, but I know that there are, and some of it is an ELL package that is an add-on to Nearpod and such. Now, I don't think I have Dominican Republic here as standards but they do have Common Core standards. So if I'm teaching using Common Core standards, I could do that, and I could say ELA, 5th grade, and I could drill on down to a certain strand, and I could find the strand under the Common Core, and I would click on it, and this would give me a lesson that fit all of those criteria. Again, I just click on the X out here to do. Now, I'm always game to type in Spanish lessons. Let's just see what we get. Okay. Whoa, look at there. Now, some of these you may find that would be appropriate for your students and all. So I just typed in Spanish lessons. And really, do not be afraid to click on anything. Do not be afraid to, you're not going to break Nearpod or anything like that. But let's say I'm going to go to, and I'm going to type in, I'll just type in, well, let's look for hurricanes. We certainly have had our fair share of hurricanes this year. So what I see when I type in hurricanes, obviously this is a video on hurricanes. This, I can just scroll down. I'm going to see quite a few lessons on hurricanes, and I could look at those. Now, when you see something like this, it says 63 lessons. Now, this EL collection is an add-on. You may not have all those available to you. Always try clicking on it, because I have nothing to do with what the schools have purchased or anything like that. So here, this one's done by the Nearpod team. It's talking about hurricanes. And so you would preview any lesson that you thought you might want to use. And you just click on the preview. It's going to bring that lesson up, plus it's going to show you other lessons that are maybe related to this. So this is has 26 slides in it. And I would go through and I would preview it. And even when I'm previewing it, I know that one, I can change. I can not change what's written on here, but I can add my own slides. I can delete slides that are not relevant. This one is a video. So this looks pretty good on hurricanes. I think I'm going to add it to my library. Okay, so when I click on this and I am back in my library, you see, I went to the library. I got it from the Nearpod library. I put it in my lessons. So let me just go through that one more time. Nearpod library. Let's put in, I'll put in biomes. Let's see what we get. I did not specify a grade. If I wanted to drill it down a little bit, I could do that. Here, this is a teacher, and she does a lot. Her lessons are really good. You start recognizing some of these authors. So again, you preview it. It comes in. This is a 48 slides. That's a pretty long lesson. And sometimes when I get a lesson that long, I may actually kind of divide it into 2 lessons. But or I may just delete some slides. So now I can say show in my library, and I have this lesson on ecosystems. So you can see you don't start from scratch. And if you have young students, you can put in here pre-K lessons. I found quite a few the other day for young learners because I was working just with pre-K teachers. And this is a real challenging time. And so there are lessons that fit down into their grade level. But let's look at this one on hurricane. I'm going to click on the edit button. This is where the fun begins. I'm getting ready to edit this. Do I just want to edit the lesson, or do I want to duplicate it? I used to always just hit edit, but then I found that sometimes when I start editing, I wish I had it back in its original form. So that's a reason for duplicating a lesson. It just saves me time from having to go back and find it. So let's look up here. My students probably are not going to read this about learning objectives. I'm clicking on that slide. I'm going to click on this slide. So I'm going to delete these 2 slides. So I hit delete. So you see that you start, that's kind of the first thing I look at and see, okay, there's some things I might not want to use. So let's go ahead and I'll delete those slides because, but then there's things I want to add. So I say add slide. This is the new part on the videos. So it takes me to the video library, and this is on hurricanes. So I'm going to type in and let's see if we have anything. Ooh, I have quite a few. This one you can see is 6 minutes and 2 seconds. This one is 4 minutes. This one is 1:22. And based on the age of your students, the length of a video can be very important. Younger students, their attention span is not as long. Older students, you probably could go with a longer video. But let's just look at this one. So I click on the video, and what I can see right now is that here are the embedded questions that are already built in. I can just hover over it, and it's going to give me either a multiple choice question or an open-ended question. If there's a question that I don't want to use, I can hit edit, and I could remove that. They consider it an activity. We're not, my students probably wouldn't answer that. I don't want that question. I just delete that activity. And I'm not deleting the whole slide. I just deleted that one question. If I wanted to add my own question, I can certainly add my own questions. I just click there. I add the activity. I'm going to make it an open-ended question, and I'm going to say, what is the difference between a hurricane and a tornado? Here in Texas, we have a lot of tornadoes. Of course, people that live on the coast also have hurricanes. So you see, I added in my own question, and then I save it. Now, you can use the videos just as standalone, or you can put it in your lesson. Now, when I'm adding slides like that, these new slides end up down here at the bottom. And I just take that slide and I will drag it to wherever I would like that slide in my lesson. A lot of times when I'm doing a lot of editing, I just let them drop to the bottom and then I move them when I'm finished. So I added a video. This is just adding your own slide. It might be your introductory to the lesson. This is web content. Now, if most URLs are very long and students can waste a lot of times trying to type in the correct URL. So all you do, and I'm just going to go to NASA, that's nice and short, but that's not the norm. I always test my link. I don't want any surprises. Yay, it went to NASA. Okay, that's good. And then I can save it. And when the students get to this slide, they're just going to click and it'll take them right to NASA. Those of you that have the younger students, you could put in something like www.abc/grades/K for kindergarten. And all they would have to do was click on it and it would take them right to that page. So it saves a lot of time and it gets them to where you want them to be. So I save it. Add a slide. So I'm adding additional content. Vocabulary is a separate piece. This is the 3D. This is where the home of the sharks. See, there's my great white shark. But if I'm teaching, I'm a science teacher, I can preview this. This is an animal cell. You see the colors are in all. Students can manipulate it and see the different layers and such. If I want to use it, I click done. It's in my lesson. So you see how fast I'm adding content. VET simulations, they are great simulations. Say you teach science in the elementary school and you're trying to explain to them static electricity. And so you would look at this simulation on static electricity. Is this something that would benefit your kids? If it does, you add it to the lesson. Here's science for middle school. There'll be some that are in both areas, and then on up into high schools. Here's balancing chemical equations, all sorts of things here. So it's for math and science. Okay, so if you preview it, you click done, it's in your lesson. Here's the VR field trips. And so you could take them to see the pyramids. You want them to understand you're teaching theater or language arts in the upper grades. You want them to see Shakespeare's theater in London. And so here it is. I preview it. Because I want them to understand, look at that stage. They had to sit on those really hard wooden benches. You know, the weather was, you know, they had no control over that. Now, yes, you're going to get some tourists in some of the pictures. Quite frankly, that doesn't bother me. My idea was I wanted to show them what that looked like in Shakespeare's time. Graphing calculator, if you teach high school or such middle math. These are BBC videos. I really love some of these that you can see here. I know we looked at one this morning. It was on the Rough Riders, but it wasn't from BBC. It was just a regular video. But I liked when you see some of the, oh, there it is. It was from BBC. You know, it's kind of grainy, but you think about when Theodore Roosevelt and the Rough Riders were in action, so it fits the time and all. So that's, here's the Microsoft Sways. This is where I found the one on endangered species, but they have them by landmarks. They have them by seasons, countries, historical events. And as I said, the images and such are really just amazing, and the amount of information that's there. And all you have to do is click and you have it in your lesson. Slideshow means you may have brought in a PowerPoint or Google Slides from somewhere, and the slides are not spread out one after another. I mean, like we were going through it, they would all be basically on one slide. This is, you can bring in audio files. You have to know where they are. Like if you wanted your students to listen to Martin Luther King's speech, you could bring that in. Here's where you bring in PDFs. But let's go to the fun part. And this is adding activities. Here is an open-ended question. And so I put my question here. Here's where I enable student audio recordings. This means that they can respond orally. You will see this on a lot of the slides. You click on it, you can add a video. I think if you're using student paced and you need additional materials for the students to review, this is certainly a good way to do it. You can add a web link. This is an audio recorder. Maybe you need to give some additional information and such. And so you just have a microphone. Students, please explain in your own words the difference between a tornado and a hurricane. And so again, if you have auditory learners or such, they're used to hearing your voice, and it's a great way to add additional information to the lesson. So you see, I'm doing the same thing over and over. I'm adding activities now. Here's matching pairs. So if you were I put my instructions here, whether it be match, find the right answer, the definition, whatever. I could have text. So I could have a vocabulary word. And over here, I could have the definition. They would match it up to. And you see, I have quite a bit of space here to type. Add another pair. I have young students. They're on their beginning sounds. I'm going to put a B in here. I'm going to look for an image. I come up here and I type in ball. And I hit the the magnifying glass. There's a great one. I save it. So you see I'm matching text to, or that was just a beginning sound. So you just build your matching pairs. I put in Abraham Lincoln, and I add an image. And I want an image of Abraham Lincoln. I do not want an image of Lincoln Carr, so I'm putting in his whole name. And I find this image, I save it. So it's very quick for you to create your own matching pairs. And then I just save it. So I'm taking this lesson that started out on hurricanes, and I would certainly stick, to appropriate activities. This is a quiz. It looks like any other quiz you've ever put in. You write your question. You have your answer choices. And you have to select the right answer. Again, you can add media, video, or audio instructions. You could have 25 questions. It'll be graded for you. That's really the nice thing. Add a slide. So it's intuitive once you get into this. I'm just going to quickly go to draw it. Draw it could be, here's your instructions. And you could, it could be as simple as draw a picture of how you're feeling today. Draw a picture of this. You could have a background image like a parabola, and your instructions would be to draw the line of symmetry. So, you have so many different things you can add. Collaborate board. So all you have to do is, I'm doing this on weather. I want you to describe a hurricane. And you can choose different backgrounds. So it's very quick. I could add an image that shows a picture of a hurricane. Add a slide, add activities. Poll, pretty much what you would expect. You just type in whatever you're doing the poll on. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Vanilla, chocolate, Rocky Road. Now I can toggle this on over here to allow them to choose more than one.
John,
It's Christina, just popping in for a minute. And I just wanted to let you know, I sent a little chat to you, but I know you were deep in showing us all the possibilities, and there are so many. We're very grateful for all the time that you have given us.
Right.
I know there are some folks that have to head out right at 4 o'clock. But if anyone else wants to stick around for a few minutes, I don't know what your time schedule is.
Fine, I'm not going many places.
But I definitely I want to thank you on behalf of everyone here. I feel like you've given us a great look at what's possible. I didn't get to see the whole thing, but
Well,
even what
we'll
I've
get
seen so far
recording.
is terrific. Yes, exactly. It's terrific.
And all. Yeah,
I'm wondering if any folks have any questions right now while we have Joan here on the line and before you have to
Joan?
go, those of you who have to go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I just want to let her know that Russell says the first grade team appreciates this and they'll use it in the future. Amanda loved this, and Phil said, thank you. It was highly informative. Bianca, thank you. It was very helpful and enriching. All I want to know is,
You feel good.
yeah, you mentioned about 2 ways, but there was one that I don't know if we discussed about launching this with Zoom. It was one of the options. I saw it on the top.
I don't even bother with that. I haven't quite figured out what the difference is.
Okay. And the other one, does the grading of the activities, does it link to our Google Classrooms?
Okay, when you get your reports, and I'm just clicking on reports right now, you get a list. So like this lesson, I have taught a lot. This is your class right here. I see it like this. And so here I have all the quizzes are graded, the poll and such. Now, as far as it going directly into your Google Classroom, you can download it as a CSV and then take it in and take it to Google Drive that way.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's good because it has the report, and at the end of the day, what the teacher wants is all the kid's name and the grade.
Sure.
It's fine. So it doesn't necessarily have to interface.
And you would see all the drawings. You would see the matching pairs.
I love that I saw that you had a folder that had sub plans. That's interesting.
Yes.
This would be a lifesaver, like if you're absent and
Right.
it could be all the things for a sub. I noticed
And
that.
notice over here on the left-hand side, it says sub plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually don't get into that on this session, but again, it's very intuitive. You click on it and it helps you. It's template driven. It
Yeah.
helps you create a new sub plan. It's very easy to do.
Joan,
Uh-huh.
at the beginning, you shared with us a place where we could write our email so that you could email to us. I did it at the beginning, but it said, it returned it, it said that I couldn't. Is there a possibility that we do it before we go?
Okay. Now, what I'll do is, one, I'll send it individually to all those that it filled in on the form, but I'm going to send everything to Christina and
Okay.
she could redistribute it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
Thank you.
So
I
I'm,
love something too, that many of the teachers that I know are in this chat, like Claudia, Eileen, you already have presentations already done. And just you taking what you've already done and not feel that this just adds a layer that's going to complement what you already do. Because I see, Eileen, the work, and Claudia, that you give. And I know that this is just you downloading your presentations that you guys already have and just adding this element. So
Right.
it's not like more work added on to what. you
I'm
already
I'm excited by the fact that it's just so much faster to do, the grading and everything else, which is, been a
It's
challenge. of mine.
incredible. It's incredible.
But I'm going to be going over to your classroom, Marlene, to get a little extra help, okay? Because this is a lot of stuff.
It's
you
easy.
do have those people, and like on each of the lessons, there's these 3 dots.
That you can drag it.
And you can share lessons with each other. I have a real good friend. We share our lessons back and forth all the time.
And
it-
that happens in high school because there's some teachers that do share
Right.
courses that might be needed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So Claudia, I already have seen your presentations. If you just share one with me, I'll go ahead and do it with you and share it right back to you, and I'll do that.
That
Okay?
sounds great. That sounds really good.
Okay, well, you know, we're all gonna, are you, I meant to ask at the beginning, so are you in a virtual situation? Or are you face-to-face or both?
Virtual.
Virtual,
This-
okay. So you can see, and why this is gonna be such a tool
Yeah.
for you with your students.
And it's I think it was Christina that says it, it's so user friendly. It's not like you need a code and a formula and it's really, really user friendly.
And it is.
And I love this for like pre-K teachers, like this little circle and the B and the, you know, and our little ones, even though they're kinder, they know how to touch button better than we do. And I can already see that this is applicable, you know, from an AP course all the way to the little ones.
And I have
And
used
my
that.
colleagues that are already, I don't know how they're doing it in lower elementary, having the lessons that are already there for them is
Right.
gonna really help them and
Right.
time saving.
Well, and for those pre-K teachers, they can add their voice.
Yes.
in
Yes.
slide, and I think that is
Powerful.
that's really so important that they be able to do that. And let me just, for those of you that are just hanging with me about 5 minutes, and let me just show you a couple things.
Yes, I can stay whatever you want.
Me too. Joanne,
Nerdy
Joanne,
punch.
Tanibol. Joanne, I was gonna say, if you
Okay.
wanted to continue and finish up, there's some of us that like to stay later. So go
Okay.
ahead and finish up. I'm up for this. I'm
There's-
learning tons.
I'm so happy to have this, and I thank you so much for this. You have no idea how excited I am.
No, I'm excited too.
So the two things or three things that I really want to show you. Okay, this is just a plain slide. Okay, when I click on it, notice that this becomes up here. It's not grayed out anymore. It says convert to draw it. So this is how I take a slide. Maybe it's a map. That's just a picture of a map. And now I want to make it into a draw it. Now, also down here at the bottom, this is what I wanted the pre-K people to understand, or not pre-K, no, any of the younger classes. Kinder, we love those kinder children. Just don't let them breathe on you. This is an audio button. And when you click on this, you can add your voice to absolutely any.
Wow.
And you can see I have a little microphone here. I start recording and maybe I'm reading the question to them, or I'm reminding them of what we talked about yesterday. Whatever I need to record. It records it. I listen to it, and it was recording. I was just chit-chatting with you, and I save it. And so when they get to that slide, they will know there'll be a little icon up here that they can click on it and they can hear their teacher's voice. And so I just think, you know, things like that are just the little things that have been added to it. Down here, let me find it. I saw there was a quiz in this lesson. I said you could turn any quiz into a time to climb. I click on the quiz. Now, this was not there before. I say convert to time to climb. And now it's in that gamified format instead of being just a plain old quiz. And well, that was the dummy one that I made. So you
Yeah,
can
like the quiz. Mhm.
you can turn any of these, any quiz, and like time to climb wasn't available in some of the, you know, until last year or first part of this year. I can't even remember now. And so you may find a lesson has quizzes in it, but no time to climbs. Well, that's how you make it into a time to climb and all. So it's very easy to just make it. And see, here are all my stuff at the bottom. And now I would take it and move it to where I would.
Wherever you want. Can you just quickly run by just quick little 3 steps. I already have a presentation, like I know Eileen and Claudia does, and I already have it in my Google Drive. How do I just dump it in here so that I can add on to the slides?
Okay, so there's a couple of ways. Let me just,
Cogen apunte, que this is how it's gonna help you, Claudia and Eileen, because they already have incredible
Thank you. That was
presentations.
my question too. Thank you.
right. So I'm going to my Google Drive.
Miren, anoten. Oh, this is recorded, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't stop it. Okay, it's not liking. This is my Symbaloo. Sometimes it doesn't like it. So let me just go down here. I'll just let me see if I can get to it another
They would
way.
probably just go to Drive, right? Because we don't
Yeah.
use Symbaloo, so they would probably just click on.
Yeah, they would just go to Google Drive. And I don't know why. This has been my lifesaver for years, and now all of a sudden it's kind of getting picky.
Yeah, it's getting, yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, I would just go to, let me see, here's Google Drive.
Mhm,
And I would get into my account.
mhm.
And so I would come over here and I would find my Google
Presentation.
slide.
There's one there.
Yeah, here's blended learning. This
Mhm.
was done in Google Slides.
Yeah,
know-
like they have it. Like I know most of them have it already.
Yeah. And so now what you have to do is there's, now I could copy it and bring it over, but I can add activities right here. You go to the Chrome store and you get the Nearpod add-on. Yes.
That's what I did.
Yeah. And so here I have it. I'm going to open it up.
Mhm. At the top, you're gonna go to add-ons.
And right up here, it says add-ons. So here are all my slides. And of course, I've already got it. Well, come here. And here's my Nearpod add-on, open Nearpod. Oops.
When you don't have it, you go to get add-ons and you just type in Nearpods, guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And all comes from the Chrome store. And so I say I want to edit this lesson.
Mhm.
And all. So I edit the lesson. And what
And there it is.
you see all these activities that I was showing you. So you can add in a poll, you can add in a quiz, blah, blah, blah. And then you save it and it's back in your Nearpod library.
That's what I was missing. And
Okay.
then from there, you can launch it. Because I did it to one of my lessons, like where you were talking, I got the add-on and I did it. But then I was going, oh, but then I forgot to add on that button
Yeah.
and it's set to send it to my library. You
Right.
saw, guys, how easy that was?
And you see, oh, now sometimes, maybe I just want to copy 1 or 2 slides. So I
Yeah.
can just copy the slides and then paste them, into another one. But if you're wanting to add the activities and then get it back to Nearpod, that's the best way to do it.
Or once it is in Nearpod, you can edit it right there and make a simplified version and it's just easier.
Right. Also, just because y'all are such good learners.
I'm working hard. I'm with the gifted group here and with Joan from Nearpod.
And so
Bunch.
yeah, these
That's
are, oh, good. So these, now I've lost my thought. I had a brilliant thought to share with you. But when you have your lessons here, I'm sure it's swimming around in my head, it'll come back. So like I would go, here's, I was trying to see where I had put that. But you just bring them in, you might start building these folders like I have and such. So
These folders would be, how did you add a folder to your main drive? What you just created, you added a folder. So for example, someone like Cabal would say, like, what she would go and she'd say, you would call them by your courses.
right. And so up here, create, oh, that's not where I wanted. Oh, add a folder.
Yes.
Sometimes it's so easy that I forget math.
Mhm.
and maybe period 1. And I create it. And then I can also, then I can color code it. Sometimes I have to rename mine because.
That works well for Eileen, because Eileen color codes her classes, her groups.
Yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
that helps because it keeps it organized. And for someone like Ticona, she would have a folder for her circle time, a folder for math, and
See, here is the one I just
You
added.
are so
They're,
very
they're alphabetical up here,
I
okay?
like that.
I also have a question. Can we include the Nearpod lessons into our Google Classrooms? As a
Yes.
Oh,
it
yeah,
becomes-
How can do that, please?
you could put your code in, the code for the
Oh,
lesson.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They know.
Yes.
And so once you give them the code, and remember, there's 2 ways. You can do it as an instruction when you're with them, but they could do it on their own as their pace. And the good news is you can tell the difference between the kid who did it the night before or who are the kids that are doing the progress as you go along. That's a feature that other programs don't give you.
Right, it's time stamped.
Yeah.
So those were just a few of the things that I did not get to. Every once in a while, this is a lesson that I created. So sometimes I might not, it'll come up and say it's a copyright issue. Well, if it's a copyright issue, it's because somebody has written a lesson for Nearpod and they've copyrighted it. But anytime you have things on your own, then you can manipulate them. And like I was telling the teachers the other day, this was an older lesson. I probably did it 4 years ago. Half of the features that are available now are not here. And so I click on this, notice it said convert to.
Convert.
I double click. I said, do you want to keep a copy? No, I just want to convert it. And so then all I have to do is go back and double click on it and put in my instructions. And of course, this was one that we were just reading aloud, but now I could say circle to strawberries. I didn't have this option 4 years ago. So I took it and it was just a plain slide and I made it a draw it slide. Also, I didn't have this where I could record my voice again, reading. I could say, what did Pete step in to turn his tennis shoes red? So with your
You
younger.
can also embed Flipgrid where the child can answer it back to you.
Right.
And our kids are very tech savvy using Flipgrid. So imagine instead of a test, that child who gets stuck on the writing component, Eileen, that they can't explain la novela, they can orally express it.
Exactly.
That, especially for kids who have learning needs, that their writing is not their strength.
Especially-
Imagine the tool this could be for resource teachers.
Especially for those auditory learners.
Yes.
We can give the instruction written and also orally.
Yes.
Exactly. So I think you'll really enjoy using it, and you're so enthusiastic and all that I know you'll be willing to try new things. And you've got
Yeah.
enough people there on your campus to help one another. And so I am going to be sending the video to Christine, and I will send more resources to go back to, and I'm going to research that question we had about the timer because that was such a good one. And
I saw the button of the timer on one of the lessons.
Oh
You
yeah,
have-
I just don't know when it runs out.
Okay, that was a good question.
That was a good question. So I will.
You can't go with this group, Joan, because we'll keep her here till 8 o'clock at night. This group.
No,
of
but
women-
wait. One more question
workaholics.
before, Joanne, before we leave.
Uh-huh.
You may have answered this, but I'm sorry if it's a repeat. When I do the advanced login, it says enable student notes.
Yes.
It does not allow me to do that. It says
Right. And
only school edition.
You need
Let me
to,
look at your account, Claudia. You and Marlene have there's some.
And I
reason
did the
why
I did the
And I'll
same thing.
figure it out.
I
Yeah.
did the same thing. I went in, I made sure that I was logged in as myself. I went in, but you know me, I'm already proactive. I already wrote to them to see what's up with me.
And Christina, I don't have an account. I will create my account now.
No,
So
we all-
No, don't create your
No,
account.
no.
We put them all in for you.
We
So
have
you
their
received
email.
an invitation, but you probably either didn't see it or didn't know what it was when you got the invitation. So I'll send the invitations to all three of you again. And I
Yes,
think that will solve
please.
the problem.
thank you.
Christina will figure that out because that is
Let's
that
hope so, Joan.
on your end.
Hey, you're a lovely lady. God bless. Take care.
Bye, Joanne. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Joan.
Invite me to come to your school.
Oh,
I'd love to
mi casa, mi
All
casa
right,
es tu
nice.
casa.
Sure.
My house is
right.
your house.
Okay,
And
thank you.
share a lot of
Thank
stuff
you.
with us, please. Share a lot of things.
I'll pass it on. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.